You're watching WRKM Channel 22, number one in the region. The following WRKM broadcasts for mature audiences only. We curse a lot on this show, even though we're not allowed to by contract. And YouTube is now kind of making it difficult to get seen the algorithm if you curse these a lot. So we'll probably end up having to bleep the curses in our future episodes. So our previous 86 will be held against us in the algorithm. So here's to another 86 of doing it the quote unquote right way. So YouTube doesn't demonetize us at any point. It's Saturday night. We're back after a long break. For how long, who knows? Only the gods do. Set of talks we can't have when the sun is up. Good evening. I'm Ralph from Business and in Darkness. We're back. Yay. Everyone's happy. Sent on a semi-forced sabbatical from WRKM. They suggested it. I don't know why. Suspect stuff going on these days at the Donkenheims. Can't read the tea leaves. Probably shouldn't call my bosses live on air, but I'm gonna do it. Maybe they can explain to my 100 fans, why was I away so long? Wasn't like I said anything controversial. Never on this show. We are good boys. We never cause any trouble for anybody. Though Bobby still chooses to remain faceless on this show because of some of the things we do say on here. That doesn't mean we are bad guys. We are good guys talking about bad subjects. That will hold up in court, I think. Possibly. But I'm happy to be back because I've been thinking about this idea for a little bit, and current events have brought it to the forefront. And I was just thinking about, how I grew up. A kid like me, growing up in the projects, and you always wonder about the world around you, the country around you. How did it happen? Who's in charge? Who are the movers and shakers? How do you elevate beyond your circumstance? Who has dictated your circumstance? What outside entities have done such things to you, not even knowing it? Who have screwed you before you even born? Tend to think about that a lot when I was a kid. But kids like me, your only hope really was to read books, watch History Channel, and get really nerdy with it. And that wasn't fun for everyone else. Everyone else was deeply into anime. I was, but not as much. Everyone else was into cool shit like Jordans, who won the NBA Finals, and to be fair, who won the World Series. Bush was a big Puerto Rican, but also baseball town, but probably because of the Puerto Ricans. But that's how it was, Did you catch the new Dragon Ball Z? Kinda. I kept up. I know what's happening. But have you read this book about the Freemasons? No. Just me. Kind of hard to have those conversations with kids in 5th grade, or the 6th grade, or the 7th, or the 8th. In high school, you kind of start to find those people who are like kind of into shit like that. Alternative history, as they call it. But that's the thing about it. Like when you're growing up, at least where I come from, you look around and all you see are the usual stereotypes of growing up in the hood. You see the cops as your enemies. You see the drug dealers as the men with power and influence. They can, just one altercation with them just leads to several lives ending. One sell from them, or one gain of a customer, could lead to several lives ending as well. The crack epidemic. Once one member of the family got on crack, that spread. And that's, in a weird way, power and influence. It's power and influence. The power to change a neighborhood and turn it upside down. For me, like that's where it was. It was very local. It was my local hustler, my local gangster. The police had to deal with every day. The local alderman who's doing business with the gangsters, you know? You'd see these little, it would be municipalities of power, in a sense. Is that the correct use of the word? Shut up, Bobby. That would be the word that comes to mind. I could be wrong. Institutions of power. Let's try that instead. So I sound less like a moron. Why are my words escaping me? They just do. It's a powerful subject to me. My own life. Who knew? But anyway. But you imagine that, you kind of try to imagine why things are the way they are. And through reading books in history and just studying how societies are built, particularly the one you're living in, you realize, it's just a transfer of power between mutual parties who tend to dig each other, who tend to think, hey, you're all right. I like you. Same face, same race. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. I'll transfer power to you. I can trust you. Can't trust the black and browns, but I can trust you. That's how it's always run, it seems. And then you have like these secret societies like the Bohemian Grove, like we talked about in our first episode, the Freemasons, you've got Skull and Bones, you got all these institutions that have long existed in this power transfer situation. Alumni give it to alumni, their children get it, their children get it. Every now and then they bring in a guy who doesn't necessarily fit the mold so they can feel good, a charitable admission into the group. Because you have to have a poor guy in your crew. They tend to be the funniest guy and the one who can get you into lots of hijinks because they've had to learn how to do it. Who's going to teach you how to drink or smash Bud Ices at 1 a.m., chugging them hard, even though they're probably the worst beer you can have, but they cost $1. That's the beauty of having a broke friend. And they're high percentage, oddly enough. They were like 5, 6, probably 7 at the time when I used to buy them. Because you got Bud Ices. No rich man's drinking Bud Ices. They're drinking Miller, the champagne of beers. But when you're trying to get drunk cheap and fast, you go Bud Ice. Write that down. Not children, but I don't want to be feeding into underage drinking. But that's your life, bruh. That's your life. I don't make no judgments or no qualms. I kind of always wanted to be the broke friend of rich friends. I can make them cool, like in all the movies, right? Like, oh, here comes the guy from the streets to infiltrate this lofty institution. He knows people. He makes friends quickly. And he also happens to be brilliant. Well, why not? The brilliant part was always difficult for me, but the other parts I did nail. I did have the social tools. And that's what you have to do to rise up in society. And when you're thinking about these institutions of power, you're like, wow, like these dudes have like secret handshakes, secret codes. They call each other weird names. They do weird rituals. They wear weird robes. That sounds fun. I want to be involved in that. And of course, it sounds satanic when you first think about it because you grew up Catholic. So you're like, I don't know. Am I worshiping the devil if I go full Illuminans? Maybe. Will God understand? I hope. That's the best thing about being Catholic. There's always that, anointing of the sick. You're good right before death. Or you just ask for forgiveness. You get it. It's a good cop out. God's a good man. He knew humans need a cop out. I love me a good cop out. And these guys go to the best schools. They come from the best families. And every now and then you do have a lottery guy. But to be that lottery guy, to have that lottery ticket printed for you to get into the Illuminati, you gotta start early. And that was the one thing I didn't do. I didn't start early. Like the kid who would get in to these secret societies today from my neighborhood, he'd have to be like straight A's to jump, never missed a day of school, always proper attendance, every possible citywide test passed. He's got to clear the boards. He has to put up Michael Jordan academic nums that I am incapable of doing. Not that kind. I'm not a good tester, but I'm a good student for everything except math, which I would think in society, math might be a little important. How else will you divide and conquer the planet if you don't know how to do it with math and pie charts? But that becomes the motivation. You spend every waking night, every waking hour. Jesus, where are my words? You've been away too long. Can't do that. But you spend every waking hour doing this shit. Studying, trying to be the best, because you realize the power structures around you are so local and so small that they're minuscule. They only matter to you if you're in that environment. And you kind of develop the Jack Nicholson philosophy of, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And that's when you realize that's true power. That's real power at the end of the day. And everyone else, they have little pockets of power. Like the local hustler has a pocket of power where he sets the standard of how crimes will be committed, who's doing deals with who's allowed to live, who's allowed to die, whose block this is. He's essentially holding up an ecosystem. Now, of course, some would say that's not an ecosystem. That's a criminal ring. But criminal rings are ecosystems and they are societies. They're built on a level of trust, which all societies are built on. When you walk out the door, you're trusting the world not to hurt you. That's it. That's all it is. I'm walking down the street. We're all going to follow the same rules, right? We're not going to murder. Not going to rape. We're not going to get crazy with it. We're not kidnapping out here. We're being cool fucking people. And some people don't agree to that agreement. They renege. They decide, no thanks. Didn't work for me, brother. Or you make little disagreements. You shoplift here and there. We all have committed some crime on a long enough scale according to the federal government. Some law we didn't even know existed. Some agreement we signed that we didn't read. That's what it is. But these people of power and these people of leadership, they make the rules. And who wouldn't want to be the guy who makes the rules? Or at the very least, friends with the guy who makes the rules. That's what you want to be. So a kid nowadays, it's got to be motivated. You got to be motivated. Or you go full beautiful mind where you're kind of like, duh, but you're super smart and you have skills. But you're also too duh to realize that maybe that's too much. Maybe having a social life is good too. It's the balance. It's the balance. But I always wanted to be one of those kids that took the time to do all that. I should have probably joined Model UN. I could have been someone involved in extracurricular activities. I could have been building up a good resume to join the Illuminati. But I didn't because I was lazy. But there's some kid out there who's fucking... He's in Model UN right now. Let's paint the picture. This kid that we're talking about is in the Model UN right now in his school, right? And he's been given one of the shittiest countries to be a representative of because they have no action. The country of Moldova. They have no action. all they have is beautiful women. That's it. Anytime I've heard of anyone talk about Moldova, has always been the women are beautiful. The landscape is beautiful. What do they produce? I don't know. What do they do? What are they like? I don't know, Scandinavian? I don't know. That's it. And now you're stuck with this country model UN. What do you do with that? You gotta get creative. If I'm a model UN and I'm that kid who's been stuck with that country, I start making some deals. I start making some deals with some other countries. First things first, calling up Russia. Calling up Russia. Hey, you want to throw some ICBMs up in here? Build some sites? Is that legal? Doesn't matter. We'll make it legal. We're allies now. We're gonna take this whole model UN down. These kids have no idea what's coming. None. And when you announce it to the rest of the class, they're like, wait, what? You can do that? Yeah, we're doing that. He's putting nuclear missiles in Moldova. Now I'm a power player. And what does he get out of it? Expands his reach. You get to be accompanying a superpower expanding their reach. And you also have your own little bit of power. What's Algeria going to do when Moldova comes through going, you know, I got these ICBMs, right? And I've been given permission to use. So what's going on, bruh? How far you want to take it? All the other Model UN students would be scared shitless. They'd be trying to make the same deals, but too late. They wouldn't. They'd be too scared because it wouldn't be within the rules. Your teacher keeps telling you can't make these side deals. You can't offer weapons you do not have to other countries to wage wars on your behalf. And what does she know anyway? She's getting divorced. Her husband's leaving her for the next door neighbor. Her son's doing fentanyl. She has no dominion over her own home. And now she wants to have dominion over the world? No, thank you. This is our Model UN now. That's how we're operating. Moldova all day. Pretty women, nuclear bombs. Now you got two things to be known for. And you keep making deals with other little Model UN countries. And she's at this point drinking herself to death anyway, so she's not even going to notice. Just get the grade. Get an A. Develop your deals. Your deal-making abilities. Because that's what's going to get you up the ladder of power. That's going to get you the ladder of power. Take it one step further. Make it a little bit more fun. The kids that are playing Algeria and Chile, get them to declare war on one another. Go to both of them and go, you know what I heard? This dude said, you straight buns, that you ain't gonna do shit if he slaps you. What? Yeah. I was like, Chile, you gotta relax. Algeria's cool. Nah, fuck Algeria. All right. And I told him, I'm gonna tell Algeria, because I don't think that's cool. You tell the same thing to Chile. Now those kids are fighting the Model UN. They're declaring war, making crazy speeches at one another. You now got a little bit of a conflict. Two countries that would never fight are now fighting, even though, to be fair, I don't even think the real countries have the war capabilities to carry this out. But that's not the point. The point is you made it happen by simply playing both sides, by taking your position as Moldova next to big-time Russia, the best buddy, and now you're creating foreign policy. You're dictating it, all because you got a couple of ICBMs. That's it. That's all it takes. Now the girl who represents France, she's kind of interested in you. She likes your moves. She likes your power. She likes how you're handling yourself. You're not being cocky about it. You're being in the shadows, and she's clocking game. She knows what it is to see a man with secrets. Her dad has a ton of them. He's got a secret family. He doesn't know that she knows, but she knows. And she keeps it quiet. Why? Because he buys her whatever she wants. She knows the rules of the game. Low-level game, though, because that game does end. Eventually, you will be 18 and you have to figure out your own way to make money. But for now, she's playing a very good temporary scheme, and you respect it. Because to be fair, even your Model UN scheme is a little temporary, isn't it? Because you're just one step closer. You're one step closer. And people go, wait a minute. Aren't you dating a country that's in NATO? How are you going to square this with the rest of the model NATO? Fuck the model NATO. We do what we want with Moldova. That's what we... Have you seen this button? I press it, things go bye-bye. That's it. Simple as that. You start picking up these little lessons you saw from the drug dealers back in the day. You can go, wait a minute. That's how simple it is. I got a gun. You don't. What we doing? That's it. My favorite line from Bulwark Empire, season 3. I believe it's Bobby Carnival. I forgot what character he plays. But he goes, you got a gun? I got a gun. Everybody got guns, but not in Model UN, dog. Because they're playing by the rules, and you're not. You're making the most of your time. You're playing the field. You're using your girlfriend to soften your image. France is now softening Moldova's bloodlust image. And they're like, all right, he must be cool. She's cool. She seems nice. If she's dating him, I mean, he must have some kind of quality. And the truth is, you don't. You don't. You're mysterious. You barely want her around in the first place. She's really just there for the physicalness you need to experience while through high school, so you don't enter college being sexually awkward. And she knows the game because, once again, her dad, secret family. So she's aware of how these games are played. But you might have a future. So this is her first investment. You know what I mean? This is her first investment into a possible future for herself. This could be next stage stuff. Do you see the picture I'm painting here? Now, I'll be Moldova, kind of being the mouthpiece for model Russia. You got the other countries going to war. Let's take the stakes up a little higher. Let's talk to the Chinese, model Chinese, which is oddly being represented by a Latino kid in Model UN, which who knows nothing about China, who just knows China's big, and he's just there to try to muster up some kind of extracurricular for his eventual college essay. So he's not invested, so he's down to do whatevs. The only thing he asks is that he too get some ICBMs on loan. And guess what? That's totally fine because China's got their own. So now what you can do is go, hey, you want some of the good stuff from Russia? Give me some of your old shit. I'll take that. Now you've got double nuclear armament, Moldova. Look at you. From your only export being fine women, now you're just the ICBM fucking capital of the earth, ain't you? Model US doesn't really care because Model US is kind of, Let's just say Model US is a little special needs. It kind of has no idea what's happening at all times in Model UN. Every club you have to go, you hear that, America? You're with us now? Yeah. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. That's Model America. So while you, China and Russia, you're doing some wars, you got a whole thing going on. You're building coalitions. You're learning how to build friends and make enemies. But you're making the right enemies because what's the rest of the world going to do? You got China and Russia. You got two superpowers, not one. Because just one, anyone can fuck with you, really, because everyone has a superpower in their pocket when you think about it. All of Africa now has China. South America technically has America due to, what was it? It wasn't the Marshall Plan. It was the Monroe Doctrine. See? I remember some shit. So technically, if something goes wrong in South America, we have to pop up. But will we? Will we? I don't think so. We don't really pay much attention unless it's a government we don't like. And when it's a government we do like, we just don't pay attention at all and just go, okay, go terrorize those people. Just, hey, just keep exporting stuff to us. That's all we ask. You can decimate your own people. You can throw some journalists in jail. But the day those resources don't come in, but Model US has no idea this is happening. He doesn't. He's got a power position he doesn't even know how to play. Because guess what? He's resting on his laurels. He's been passed his entire life. No child left behind's benefited him. He just getting pushed up. So he doesn't have to try for anything. Everything's gone his way. Hasn't been like that for Moldova, though. And that's why you caught him sleeping. And that's why all of Model UN now is at war with one another. And now you realize one thing. It's fun to make a war, and it's fun to influence a war. It's another thing to maintain it. Start a war economy, if you will. Now you're talking to the other Model UN kids. Hey, how many guns you need? Oh, we can use a couple of thousand. How about this? I'm going to send you 40,000 on the cheap. Model Russia got the taken care of. But you're going to need some missiles. I got China for the processors. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we in business or what? Damn, Moldova. You're good. You're good. Making deals. Destroying the planet. Making deals. Destroying the planet. That's what you want to do. You learn a valuable lesson in Model UN. People want to be liked by people who can do them favors. They always want to feel like they have a guy. Everyone loves having a guy. Oh, you need that? I got a guy. People like to be useful to other people, for the most part. Because deep down we have our own interest. We want something in return always. No deed is ever done nicely with no idea of a return. There will be a return. Maybe not today, maybe one we haven't thought of yet, but there will be a return, and it will be expected to be a return. Get what I mean? All right. I hope you do. Hope you do at home. But that kid's probably, after he's done terrorized Model UN, he's going to graduate high school. Top grades, top honors, valedictorian. But now this fictional child goes on to Yale. Why? Because secret societies are there. The old guard, the ancient eight. One in particular. One they made an amazing Joshua Jackson movie about. Skulls. It's a good movie. You should probably check it out. Now, all that work you've done in Model UN, terrorizing everyone, destroying their lives, hopefully you got to see some fights, some blood. You're now in Yale political science major. You're killing it. And everyone likes you. Why? Because they don't know you still. They don't. You're a mystery still. You mirror people. When people talk to you about things, you repeat the last thing they say and they continue. For instance, someone goes, I went to Carvel the other day and the machine was broken. The machine was broken? Yeah, the machine was broken. And they go on 5 more minutes talking about how the machine was broken. They think they had a great conversation because they felt listened to. Oh, this person's listening to me. I can unload all this information. But what you just did was save yourself from not having to say anything and continuing to be a mystery. That's going to help you. It's already helped you this far. It's going to keep going. This is how you start building power, extracting information, saying very little of substance, but getting the substance out of other people. I do it all the time. Not because I'm looking to be an Illuminati or an intelligence agent. I just don't have much to say sometimes. So I got to survive some conversations with everyday strangers. You mirror their movements a little bit. You mirror their final words. And you just nod and go, interesting. Interesting. Hadn't thought about that before. And that little, haven't thought about that before, pays dividends. Big time dividends. You do that like 3 years in the college, and guess what? You're learning shit. You're watching people their first time away from home. You're seeing their drinking patterns, their drug patterns. You're seeing how much they give a shit about getting laid and how they do so much with so little money, or who's got money. So now you can clock who to rob later. But that's the game. You're in different zoos your entire life. And you're just watching creatures evolve. I always looked at things anthropologically. Is that the word? Who gives a shit? But that's how I live my life. Always watching people. Why do they do the things they do? Why are they operating like this? This looks interesting. Why are they cheating on their wives with their best friend? That seems weird. I want to investigate that. Why is this woman selling her child for crack? How good is this drug? Where does addiction begin? I want to investigate that. But you're doing it at a lower level in college, even though some people do develop pill habit in college. No judgments here. But I do know of a case of someone who started pills very early and they haven't come back yet. You always hope that they would run that to the ground and do something else more respectable. But no, the pills are where it's at. And I can see why. You have a little thingy, a little case, and you so it's kind of a nice sounding thing. And when you're bored, you can make music with it. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Pills not my high, but that's cool. That's what you're into. But first things first for this kid, he's going to have to dump his high school girlfriend. He can't have her. You can't have her. She's going to weigh you down. You're attempting to go into Yale and infiltrate one of the biggest secret societies. You can't have a girlfriend for that. And to be fair, she served her purpose. You're no longer in Model UN. You're in the real deep water now. If you are going to date someone, you need someone within the vicinity who serves a purpose. And a high school girlfriend, the high school girlfriend's a good story, even though like it does win you some points. Like, oh wow, he stayed loyal to his high school girlfriend. He's thinking about her. Oh, he's got to go. And it's just a good excuse. I got to go. I'm going to video chat my high school girlfriend. Like, it does make sense. It does make sense that you're still dating a girl you dated in high school when you're in college. It's a good excuse. Use it. It gets you out of social situations. It also buys you sensitive points. Sweetie points, as we used to call them here. You're a little sweetie. Look at him as a little sweet girlfriend. But that's not what we're aiming for here. We're aiming for the higher echelons of power. Dump that bitch. She's gotta go. And she's not a bitch, but like, I don't know how else to put it. You gotta get rid of her. Time to upgrade. You're going to Skull and Bones. Or at least you're trying. So you spend 3 years in Yale just trying to be that guy. You go to lectures. You go to all the extracurricular activities. You hang out with the right political students. You know who's friends with who. You're clocking who hangs out with who. Who gets tapped, who doesn't get tapped. You know the deal. Eventually your time comes. Now you're tapped in a secret society, bruh. They tap you because guess what? Your grades are fire. Your social skill is insane. And now everyone's like, I want to hang out with that guy. But they can't nail you down on politics, can they? Because like I said, you're flexible. You muddy the water. Your political thoughts are always surprising, but yet so welcoming. Your whole philosophy is quite simple. Hey, freedom, am I right? And people can dig that because there's two ways looking at it, right? When you're a freedom guy, people go, oh, I can do whatever I want with this guy and he'll support it. Or the other side, I can get him to see the guardrails. I can get him to see why we need a bit more laws and police stating that's the key. And that's fine. That's fine. Let them think that. That's not your end game, bro. This is the long game. Let them think whatever they want. But one thing I do like is you're from the hood. You're cool. You know the best music, got the best style. And for all the white girls, you're different. Worked out for me. Works out for a lot of minorities in white places. You get to be different. You get to have a different perspective no one else has. Which you can easily abuse, to be fair. Like, I've abused it several times. I've used, before this was even a thing, like lived experience. I used to use lived experience all the time to win arguments. When I was no longer interested in having the argument, You toss out lived experience, you can't lose. Who's gonna argue with a poor Latino boy from Bushwick? Nobody. Not when it comes to an issue like race. He looks like a dick. So I abused it because I needed to get that little piece of power. I need to be seen as an expert, and I refuse to be challenged in that moment. But eventually you get tapped for the big time. Now you're in the secret society. Congrats. All this time you've been reading about how these guys steal skulls, steal tombstones of famous people. They have all these weird, sick rituals. And if you survive this, you're a power broker. You're hanging out in the CIA. You're a president declaring wars in other countries. You're a CEO making millions while your workers are being exploited. You're getting access to inside trading. Everywhere you go is none but influential people. You don't influence the entire world, but you influence a small part of it. You certainly have enough money to influence your part of the world you came from. Now you're becoming a power broker. If you can survive your time in the secret society. But then you get there and you fucking find out it's gone woke. It's gone woke. They no longer see the benefit in being a mostly white, conservative power broker factory. And your goal of being the one minority they let in so you can control your space and get exclusive access, it's over. Back in 2009, Skull and Bones had a diversity initiative. I believe in 2020, they brought in their first non-white class. And now you're like, damn, that's cool, because you get to get in. But you don't want to do any of the wild stuff no more? Like, we're not learning how to blackmail? We're not learning how to sit, rich guys and how can we scan the system? We're just hanging out, doing activism? It's fucking whack. If you want to do activism, you just join a fucking hippie circle with this Skull and Bones. You're not drinking no more? You're not doing drugs? Where are the sexy ladies that we would bring in from all over the college? What happened to all those parties I saw on the social network? We don't do that no more. No weird rituals, no hazing. The fuck's going on here? You didn't fucking spend your entire life learning how to scam, lie, deceive, destroy to fucking get into a secret society that's fucking sunshine and rainbows? No. It's Skull and Bones. And now they're fucking focused on activism. That's horse shit. Let me tell you something. I have long held the belief that true equality will come when our trash and white trash is the same. How come when black and brown people join secret societies or get anywhere, it always has to be a positive thing? Why are we always associated with like Martin Luther King and the Disney style of just, well, they're just such great people. They're just so adorable. No, we want the right to be sociopaths too. We want the right to join secret societies and become power brokers and fuck the rest of them. It's not fair. The diversity is fine. Open it up. Bring more different people of color and different ethnic backgrounds into these secret societies. But don't lose the cool part. The exclusive part. Treating people like trash. That's the whole point. Why would I join Skull and Bones to do activism? That sounds boring. I want to do coke off Geronimo's skull. I want to drink out of fucking President, what was it? Which one had? Monroe? I want to drink out of his fucking skull. I want to get weird with some chick in a fucking tomb or something. Like, goddamn. This is supposed to be fun. I want to meet someone's rich, influential dad who will eventually give me a job down the line so I can eventually give someone else I know a good job down the line and create a little power circle. He's my mentor. This guy's my mentee. And now I'm moving up in the world. We're going to cause chaos. I would like to be able to gain access to the CIA so I too can wage war on places like fucking Paraguay. Like, it's kind of lame that we don't get to be sociopaths. Now it's all activism. True diversity is going, hey, you know what? The world has been run by mostly white sociopaths. Can we just give it up to the black and brown sociopaths for a little bit and see how good they do? Because at the very least, it'll be far more stylish than what's going on now. Be a lot more fun, a lot more trendy. We never get to be sociopaths. We never get to get into institutions and run them fully and truly destroy the world around us. Obama just did some drone strikes. Wasn't enough. He didn't do no New World Order shit. And that's why I was originally excited to hear about the diversity initiative at Skull and Bones. I was excited because a kid like me would have loved to have been part of that initiative. Someone who had learned the ins and outs of wheeling and dealing and surviving and taking and stealing. That's what I would have loved to have joined. But now you can't. Because Skull and Bones is all activism now, bro. You can't. Skull and Bones, the oldest of Yale's senior societies, according to Atlantic, was formed in 1832. Other groups, composed mainly of Bones rejects, well, that's cute. That's kind of sad too. Followed soon after. The 8 ancient societies, each own private buildings known as tombs, where members meet twice weekly for dinner, debate, and bios. A ritual in which members share their life histories. You see, you mean to tell me I gotta do these bios things and I can't blackmail my fellow members? That's the whole point. If one of them tells me about the life they're having in secret from their family, that their family found out it would destroy their lives, how am I not supposed to use that to elevate my place? If I am a minority joining a secret society, how can you expect me to not want to use that as blackmail to get more shit so I can be a Puerto Rican sociopath? In power, potentially a CEO in the future. What? How is it fair? Why is it always activism when we do shit? Why can't it just be, hey, we just want to commit cool crimes too? I want to commit war crimes. If you really sat down, okay, and had explained to me and my friends as kids, hey, if you do good in school, just be good students, do some reading, figure out the world around you, and you too can just be at a dinner and say some offhand remark that causes the destruction of an entire industry. Sign us up. We would have been into it. But no, everything we do has to be super positive and look how we're thriving. You can thrive and be a sociopath. You can thrive and cause the destruction of others. But we're not allowed to. Everything we do has to be super fucking positive. Today, many societies continue to resist students' most progressive demands. Well, at least someone got the fucking memo. When the Bones class of 2019 took down portraits, some of the predecessors were aghast. Apparently, they took down the white portraits to put up black portraits as a way of protesting not letting in other people of color. But they called it bad manners, according to the alumni. This alumni graduated in 1960. Now, given the society's former members were overwhelmingly white, he argued, it didn't make sense to criticize Skull and Bones for accurately portraying its own legacy. The historical protest was silly. Well, okay. The Bones board tried to appease students by putting up photographs of non-white alumni alongside portraits. This year, the former board member told me the board will unveil society's first portrait of a black alumnus. Well, that's something. And they've also agreed to rename the Colony Foundation. Well, okay. That makes sense. But still, I have not heard one thing that leads me to believe we're still involved in secrets. Reports of alumni student schisms within Yale secret societies are nearly known as the old societies themselves. Every decade or so, especially when a member of the Bush family runs for president. George Bush was a member, or George H.W. was a member. Opinion writers argue the left-wing students have trampled the values of sustained societies. To make it easy, that makes it easy to miss a much more significant shift within these groups. A picture of members of Skull and Bones or any other ancient eight secret societies. You'll probably conjure a preppy white guy who summers on the Cape. Well, no shit. That's what I want to do. I want to summer on the Cape. Not as a white guy, but that's me. I want to summer on the Cape. In fact, recent years, the demographics of Yale's elite organizations have utterly transformed. In 2020, Skull and Bones had its first entirely non-white class. Every year, the society admits 15 rising seniors. Selections must be unanimous, and members have the final say. Today, Skull and Bones, hold on, yeah. We're getting used to this new monitor setup. Today, the idea of Skull and Bones selecting someone whose dad was a Republican president is inconceivable. But why? Why? Those are the rich ones. I don't want to be around the poor ones. I want the rich ones. It's fucking lame. But this part gives me hope. This Caleb Dunson. In 2021, the Yale sophomore published an op-ed in the school newspaper, "Abolish Yale," which seems a bit aggressive. In the essay, this mod, we gotta work on the HDMI cord, buddy, because it's prickly a little bit. In the essay, he described his discomfort attending affluent holiday feasts for students while homeless people suffered in the cold nearby. Well, maybe they should have thought about being in a secret society someday, and they would have inspired them to do better. That's my opinion. The school operates under the assumption that only a small group of remarkable people can push forward in humanity. Well, no bullshit. It is. It's a fact. Only a few. Not everyone can be great. There's a reason why LeBron's LeBron and I am me. We're just great in different ways. Maybe. It started off excluding women and people of color from a student body. Now parades them around for diversity photos and social justice brownie points. Well, brownies are tasty. Even if the university made marginal changes, which Dunson argued, it had been reluctant to do so. Its nature would remain the same. Since we can't change Yale, we have to tear it down. Ballsy. Look at him standing up for the right people. Look at him standing up for diversity, including women and African Americans and Latinos into the Yale culture. He's got a point. Historically white colleges, bad. Bad for America. Really fucking racist. I wonder what he's doing now. Oh, look. He now is a member of an Ancient Eight Society. When I asked him about the apparent contradiction, he said he decided to join to make new friends and be part of a community, but acknowledged that he was attracted to the status of being in a society that confers. That being in a society confers. Once you get a tap for a society, it's funny how quickly you get invested in the preservation of that society. Well, no shit. Because it's cool. You're in a secret club. You got secret decoder rings. Keep motherfuckers out. Based on numbers. Not race, gender, and all that shit. Based on numbers. That's how you do it. Activism. The most common argument current and recent members give for preserving societies is that by opening them up to groups that have previously been excluded, they can help diversify the elite. Now, Al Canales recalls being tapped by a senior by a senior who wanted to keep the Latino line going. Once inside, Canales focused on different diversity metrics. I chose three trans people, Canales told me. That was my specific goal. Okay, I like that. I'm all for trans people getting in secret societies, but are they going to be power hungry sociopaths? Because that's the important marker. If you want to go do activism, there's plenty of groups to do that. Listen, we need a diversity Illuminati. We do. It'd be great. Because that's how things get equal. Once everyone has blood on their hands, we're all equal under God. Isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it works? So I hope that kid who gets into Yale after being a fucking terror in high school looks around and goes, you know what? This is bullshit. I didn't work my whole life to get into a fucking secret society to have these motherfuckers go woke on me now. That's some bullshit. We're bringing it back. I'm gonna start blackmailing guys. I'm gonna start collecting money from dudes. I'm gonna start holding shit over their heads. I'm gonna start banging some of their girlfriends just because they can. And I'm an alpha male. Now, the one thing you don't want to do, hypothetical child, there are pretty girls in these societies, but do not date within the society, because what's going to happen is what happens to all great men. Pillow talk. Pillow talk has took down more great men than assassin bullets. No assassin's bullet hits quite like pillow talk, because it gets you into personal. You just finished having sex, you're smoking a cigarette, you're feeling vulnerable, you start spilling secrets. Do not date within society, but do have a girlfriend for publicity purposes, though. Make sure she's in a cool major, a major people respect. Matter of fact, go school teacher. They don't require much. They're happy for the most part. They spend all their time with children. They're feeding their natural instinct to want to be a mom. Now, you can hold out a little long in that, because being a dad will make things difficult, and being a power broker, because you have to elevate and not worry about a family. She needs to be able to live her own life while you're out there working late nights in the society, making friends with the right people. She has to be able to entertain herself. Go have fun with your studies. I'm hanging out with the guys. Remember, she doesn't need much. It's not about her. It's about you getting her the access you have. See, the beginning of Social Network, it's great fucking seeing, because he's not wrong. She does go to BU. He does go to Harvard. She probably should have been more thankful that he was going to take her to the Porcellian and those other clubs. Just saying. If he got in, just saying. Someone's got to have the access to power. It wasn't going to be her. But do not get caught up in pillow talk. Have fun. Don't have too much fun. And I hope these new kids that join the secret societies and do come from these diverse backgrounds take a look around and go, you know what? Don't patronize us. Don't do that. We're here to get our hands dirty. We're here to ruin some lives. And unless you're going to let us do that, then quite frankly, this society is not equal. And that's the true diversity that we need to have in secret societies. My opinion. Bobby, you look horrified. I'm happy. Because it's the truth, Bob. At what point do we get a chance to go from kid who grew up in the hood to full-on war criminal? Not often. But if we're lucky, and this DEI initiative works out, and the right kids get in, the right ones who have a lust for power, and a lust for material. Remember, you guys are pioneers. They're pioneers. These new power status obsessed sociopaths are like the Martin Luther King of warmongers, the elite. This is our shot to call the shots. And I'll be damned if our secret societies aren't gonna let us to have our fun. That's what I got. That's what I got. Live for me and my dreams. The dream I always wanted. It's our time. It's our time. Settle into it. Don't feel bad about, you know, doing things the way they used to be done. There's a reason why those people are successful. Because they're assholes. And it's our time to be elitist assholes. It's our time. I too want to be involved in weird sex rituals that are probably videotaped, that more than likely have me blackmailed. But guess what? I'll just blackmail them right back. That's what I would have done if I was in that scenario. Eagle eye, keep information. Use those relationships wisely. Do not fail us. New diversity Illuminati hires. This is our shot to prove that we can be just as bad as the rest of them, that we can spread rumors, that we can spread lies, deceit, that we too can aim for the stars, that we too, if we can just see it, if we can just hold our first charred, dead child body on a war zone, it's almost there. We just gotta grab it and take it. This is your moment. This is your moment. And I'm thankful to Skull and Bones for opening the doors for more diverse people. Because we've always wanted to be the ones in power. And deep down, we've always wanted to be the ones causing the havoc. And now we get a chance to. Because the truth is, no matter what you do on this planet, what your legacy is, I think we all know how this one is going to end.